Now then, how are you diddling? Happy Sunday evening. Welcome to the Sunday Roast, today's episode of Dazed and Confused. Thank you very much for joining me if you have done on the live, and we are currently live on quite a few different channels as well. So hello to Miles and Julian who've joined us on Instagram Live. We've also got people watching on Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, across a couple of groups as well. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us today. We're going to be talking about some pretty cool stuff in some of the questions that have come through. And don't forget as well, the platforms are always open for your questions about social media and video. So any questions you've got, stick them into the comments right now. We'll do our best to go through as many of them as we can do this episode. And we're going to talk about what you should be doing this evening as well. First things first, though, who the hell am I to tell you anything? Well, if you're brand new to the broadcasts, I am Simon Scholes. I'm the founder and creative director of this bad boy right here, Perception Studios, and we are an award-winning visual marketing agency based in the UK, and we help brands and businesses create video content, visual content specifically, that really helps them stand out on their social media, be it through video, animation, aerial work, graphics, all sorts of different types of thing, and we take them through the whole process. So from creative all the way through to having that finalized product, and also sometimes help them with the distribution and the advertising behind it as well. However, a few years ago, it became quite obvious to me that not necessarily every brand, every business could afford to have that content created on a regular basis. However, with social media, having regular content and consistency behind your content is imperative to have a brand that hits with anybody, because you want to be seen, and to be seen, you've got to be consistent and putting content out there all the time. So you can't necessarily pay for an agency to do that for you. So I came up with a process that actually allows and helps smaller brands and businesses and bigger businesses as well actually be capable of doing that themselves for free. My favorite four-letter word. So if you want to learn how to create more content for free yourself, then you need to be watching these broadcasts on a daily basis, and hopefully the information, the value that I give throughout all my broadcasts will help you get into that situation where you're creating content regularly that isn't costing you a penny to make, just a bit of time. And that's the main thing, is that right now we all do have a lot more time on our hands, but do you have time on your hands when all this craziness is over? Because it is going to come to an end at some point or another. We don't know when, but when it does come to an end, then will you still have the time to get this kind of stuff done? Because that's generally the problem for most people, is they say, I don't have time to do it. So that's why I came up with the process, because it helps you take one piece of content and turn it into many pieces of content very simply. But you've got to get yourself into that process in the first place. So start now. Now is the perfect time to start creating content. Get yourself into that process. Get yourself creating stuff, and then you'll be onto a winner. When we all come out of lockdown, you'll already have a brand, because people will have been seeing your content regularly and know exactly who you are. So today I want to talk to you about the fact that it is Sunday, and we are in this position right now where we have a brand new week upon us. And I'd be interested to know what you've got planned for your content this coming week, because a lot of people will have nothing planned for this coming week. Just taking a look, see who's joined us. And for one, I do know for a fact, actually, he will have content planned, is Julian from Titanium Training, from Titanium Fitness or Titanium Training. I don't know which way around it is. But Julian is a great trainer as well as a great athlete as well. And he always plans his content. You can see there's been thought gone into it, because he understands his audience and everything else like that. But so many people, so many brands will not actually put any effort into planning their content for the coming week. So then when they go into the brand new week or into a brand new month, they're just like, oh, well, I'll post this here and I'll post this there. I don't know where I'm going to post stuff, and I don't know what I'm going to post. It's just going to be a bit scattergun, and we'll see what happens. And you know what? Throw enough shit, some of it's going to stick. And that's not really how it works, because you end up confusing yourself and the audience. Your message ends up getting confused as well. Whereas if you actually understand what it is you're going to be talking about every single week or every single day, then you know where your content is going, you know who it is you're talking to, and you know the message behind it, rather than talking about, I don't know, for example, I'm selling mugs on Instagram, and then I'm also selling hard drives somewhere else, and I'm selling elastic bands somewhere else, because your audience is just going to go, what the hell are you talking about? rather than just having one sole focus message that goes out across all your social media channels, so that you don't end up confused and your audience don't end up confused either. And you see, Max is already confused. He's kicking off because he's confused. You can't confuse people with your brand, your message. You've got to make sure people know what you're talking about. Otherwise, they get upset like that. So what I want you to start thinking about doing is to 100% think about planning your content for the next 7 days. Try and either think, right, what am I going to be posting on a daily basis? Or am I going to be planning one specific subject for the entire week, and then each day can break down into segments away from that particular subject matter? So I've spoken about this before in the past. They do it on a quarterly basis, but one of my former companies that I used to work with in my old life when I used to work in radio was IKEA, and they used to break down, if you watch their marketing, they break down the year into four segments, quarters. And then they go, right, okay, what are we going to sell in these quarters? And they go, right, okay, we're going to sell living rooms in this quarter. And then we're going to sell kitchens in this quarter. And we're going to sell bedrooms in this quarter. Now, that sounds like they're just going, we're just going to sell one thing. But they're not. You break those elements down, and you've got lots and lots of different things they can talk about on a weekly basis or on a daily basis, because bedrooms isn't just bedrooms. It's the wardrobes that go in there, lighting that goes in the wardrobes, or the different size wardrobes, or sliding door wardrobes, or normal open wardrobes, or the beds, or the different types of beds, the different size beds, different mattresses. All those kind of things matter. So they're all different parts of a segment, so you can break them down. And so just taking a look to have a look here, but Julian's saying, my plan is daily posts, daily stories, consistent branding and positivity message in each post. Brilliant. I want to be painfully obvious what my page delivers for the second anybody lands on it. Very much what you communicate. Exactly. When somebody comes to your page, you've got to know what you're talking about. Otherwise, they're likely to just walk straight back off it again. But daily posts that actually talk about what it is that you talk about as well, brilliant, absolutely spot on. And that's exactly what I want all of you to start thinking about doing with your brand, with your business. So this week, start thinking about putting a plan in place. Back, who's just joined us on YouTube, says, I'm classed as a frontline worker, so I'm still in work. So putting a plan in place makes life a lot easier for you, because my wife's also a frontline worker. She's an NHS key worker. So I'm looking after our little one 6 days a week, pretty much. So what do I have to do? I have to make sure I have a plan in place for what I'm going to be on a daily basis, because these lives are every single day. So what have I got? I have a calendar put together, and it only goes until the end of this month. So we've only got another 16 days. But I have subjects that I'm going to talk about every single day. So I know in my head, I don't have to worry about sitting down in front of the computer and going, crap, what am I going to talk about? And what is my message going to be on all my other social media channels? Because I know what I'm going to be talking about every single day. And my message can be directed towards that specific piece of content. And then any other questions and answers that come in, just are extra content I can put out that are taken from that particular broadcast. But the main broadcast and my main surge of content on all my channels are around about that specific subject matter. So I don't confuse myself. If my audience follow me on multiple channels, they don't get confused either. And you don't see any other brand doing it. And this is something I learned from working with all these other brands, is to have that focus. And yes, they focus on quarters. You need to be focusing a lot smaller period of times so that you're consistently putting out more content, because they are IKEA, they are the Burberrys of the world. They don't need to worry so much about necessarily people following their social media and putting out content 3 times a day, because they are those brands. People are going to follow them. You're pretty much a nobody. And I'm not just talking about back here, the British Autistic Chef, and his content is amazing, but just any brand, any business. And when they're smaller, people don't know who you are. So you need to build up that awareness. So keep putting out that content. And that's what you get from planning. If you put that plan in place, then everything else becomes clearer. You know what you're going to be writing about, you know what you're going to be talking about. It just really makes life a lot easier for you. And let's have a look. Said, I've not missed a post for weeks and it really works, says Julian. Brilliant. Absolutely awesome. This is what we like to hear, that things are actually working for people. Especially in this period of time right now when we're still uncertain what the hell's going on. Nobody knows what's actually happening right now. Yeah, we could have another spike around the corner. We don't know. We just don't know. I mean, God forbid, we're really hoping we don't, but it could happen. So more you put your effort in right now, spending time, putting content out and making life easier for yourself because you are potentially still working or what have you, then life is going to be a lot easier for you because you can keep putting that content out. Like right now, I am a full-time childcarer and also trying to run a business at the same time. And that's not easy, but putting a plan in place makes it a hell of a lot more easy for me because I do my daily live broadcast. I've done a video which has gone out on multiple channels. Brilliant. I can take out the main piece of content, which I'm talking about. So I can take the main piece out of today, talking about, I can take all the questions out, make those into more content. I can take the audio off. It becomes a podcast dedicated to the day. I have all that content to play with, and it's on one subject matter. It's not confusing anybody because the message across all my channels is about planning your content. So get thinking about it. Right, I think I've gone on enough about that now. Hello to E.A. Muldown and McGinley's CC, whose name I've been pronouncing wrong for ages, and I'm amazed they haven't picked me up on it. But McGinley's CC, who've joined us as well. Thank you very much for joining us on Instagram. If you've joined us on any platform at all, don't forget the comments are open. Chuck your questions in there or just your general comments, and we can go through those throughout the broadcast. Right, let's have a quick look at some of the questions that have come in. These are stuff that I've seen on Twitter, and also I had one through on email as well, through from South America. So we'll go through these. Karlitza on Twitter says, how can you distinguish yourself amongst all the other clothing brands when reselling the same style? I understand the way to personalize it is through your own marketing and creative strategies, but when it comes down to the same dress, I don't find my brand being anything different. There's something in there. You've got to find what it is that is your niche. Are you doing this just because you want to make money? Or is there a reason behind you've chosen these styles? Or is there a reason behind what you want as a brand? Gymshark didn't do anything different with the clothing. They didn't invent a new material. They weren't anything amazingly special. They just knew where their market was. And the guy was a fitness enthusiast. He enjoyed keeping fit. And he knew if he took certain photographs with the things that he designed in place, then he would be in a position where people would want to buy his product. I'm not going to start going on about how it basically he sexualized his product, but that's essentially what he did. But you need to think about what you can do with your product. What is your ethos? What is your underlying reason for doing this? And make that part of your brand. Make that part of your USP, your unique selling point. What makes you unique to anybody else? And you need to sit down and understand that. And once you understand that, then you can understand who your avatar is going to be, your ideal client, and then you can understand the kind of content they're going to want to see, and then you can start creating that content. But you can't just start doing, right, well, you know what? I'm going to sell shorts because I go to the gym daily, and well, you know what? It's better than doing nothing else, isn't it? So then you start selling shorts. That's no reason to sell shorts. But if you've got a reason behind it where you go, I'm selling shorts because I'm a really keen rock climber, and these particular shorts that I designed or I've found are actually brilliant for rock climbing. They're really roomy. They help you move around. They hold the chalk bag really. Those kind of things are interesting to that particular marketplace. So you've got to find out who your niche is, and you've got to understand what your USP is that's going to appeal to them. You've got to, Carlita. So you've got to take a step right back, maybe just stop everything, put everything on hold for now. Leave your shop open because maybe you're getting 1 or 2 sales dribbling, but just stop for a second, take a breather, understand what your USP is, why you're doing what you're doing, what is your story. If there's a story there, then you've got something to latch onto as a USP. I did a video a while ago, a couple of years ago, with somebody who ran a macaron company. And when we dug down deeper, we found out the reason she was running the macaron company is because she became passionate about, because she'd done macaron baking with her daughter who had left university, wasn't sure what she wanted to do for a living. So she started making macarons with mum. They started selling them. Then she went off and got a proper job, and her mum still loved doing that. So she kept on making the macarons, and the business built from there. That was her story. It was a family it was a story, it was emotional, you could get engaged with it. So you must have something that's very similar for your brand, for your business. And hopefully you will find that a lot easier than you probably are thinking right now. It doesn't have to be something different clothing wise, but your USP, the reason you're doing it, is different. It will be different to somebody else's story. So what is your story? Latch onto that. Okay, hopefully that's helped. And anybody else as well who maybe haven't listened to that. Julian says, dinner's calling. Thanks for putting out great info and hope you're doing well, buddy. I'm doing, well, better than most, let's be honest. I'm waking up every day alive. I'm healthy. I'm still training as best as I possibly can do around juggling max. And sometimes actually juggling max is my training. But yes, I'm all good. Thank you very much for tuning in today, Julian. Enjoy your dinner. I'm sure it's something that I'm probably very jealous about you having because the photos and the stories that you put out of the food that you eat are always so appetizing. So yeah, go and enjoy that and have a good rest of your evening. Right, next question. I'll have a quick drink before I lose my voice. Okay, let's have a quick, we've got a question here actually that's just come through on Instagram. McGinley's CC have said, I'm putting out a lot more regular content, even showcasing others we work with in a feature Friday, but I'm really struggling with engagement. I tag and hashtag, it's not showing me the rest of the question, which is really annoying. Come on. No, it's not showing. Basically, you're struggling with engagement. It's not showing me at all for some reason. I don't know why. You tag and hashtag. Okay. Are you using, the question really for me would be, are you using the same hashtags over and over again? Because again, Instagram and the algorithms behind different softwares, they don't like you using the same hashtags. So you can have your standardized ones, which would be McGinley CC or wherever you're based specifically, and using that as a hashtag and that particular area and carpentry and all that kind of stuff. But what you've got to think about is going through the stages. So when it comes to hashtags, for a smaller audience, and this is anybody under 10,000 followers, I suggest looking at two very, very big audience hashtags. And I'm talking like in the millions. Then you come down a level and you go for about 5 or 6 where they're in the 100,000 mark. Still big, but not so big that there's less chance of you being seen. The reason you go for the big ones is because if your content does go viral, then you will leap up the tables and up in the actual visual on those massive viral hashtags, and there's more of a chance of your content being seen by more and more people. On a level, do 5 or 6, and then bring it down even further and do a few more. There are some really cool apps out there that can help you. Tailwind does cost money, but for the first 30 posts, it's completely free. And it's definitely worth checking it out. It will help you schedule your posts on a regular basis rather than you having to post them. Obviously, it's not an Instagram tool, so you might find that you get punished for that. But you can also use it to help you with your hashtagging. It can actually help you find hashtags that work for your specific niche. So definitely take a look at that. There's also phone apps like Hashtag as well. And use all the hashtags that you've got available to you. So you're allowed to use up to 30. Use 25 to 30 hashtags. It might look a little untidy. You might not be happy about doing that. In that case, put them into the first comment. But do them instantly. Don't just wait and then put the hashtags in. And hopefully that will help. I'm not entirely sure what kind of interaction you're looking for and you're getting. And for me to be more specific, I'd probably have to sit down with you and take a look at your content and go through that. But hopefully that's helped a little bit. I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't see the whole question, but fingers crossed that's helped a little for you. And yeah, we will see. And also consistency as well. Again, it depends on what you class as consistent. Is that once a day, or you've been consistent in posting 3 times a day and posting specifically when your audience is going to be online? And also what you class as good interaction as well. Good interaction compared to your audience. If you've got 1,000 people following you and you're getting like 5%, 10% of your audience liking a piece of content, that's like 50 likes. That's pretty good going, to be honest, in this day and age at the moment, because these platforms are hugely cannibalized. So getting your content seen by people right now while everybody's off work, by 50 people out of 1,000 people following you, that's pretty good. Might not seem it, but it actually is. So don't get too disheartened. Right, next question that came through was from Najits, and he says, what do you do when some of your content takes really long to make and most of your time is spent on that, but you don't want to stop putting out a lot of volume of content? You stop worrying about perfection. That's pretty much what stops most people putting out stuff, or stops them putting it out until they're happy with it. You've got to step away from that point and go, okay, I'm going to have elements of my content that go out which are going to be flagship pieces of content, for want of a better way of putting it. So you would have maybe one flagship piece of content going out a week, and then lots of smaller pieces of content which aren't necessarily flagship but still give great value going out on a regular basis. That way you've got regular content going out, you keep building your audience, people are still constantly getting value from you, and then bang, you show them what you're capable of doing with one really great blow away piece of content, whether that be a great photograph and you've been showing other stuff that's maybe the stages of making that photo or less than perfect versions of it, whether that's a piece of graphic, whether it's an animation, whether it's a video, whatever it might be. So give loads and loads of value, make the less than perfect content your regular, organic, massive bang. Look, this is what we're capable of doing with lots of value. And then boom, that nuclear explosion of, wow, this is our flagship piece of content this week. Take a look at this. We're going to blow your socks off. That's how I would work it, so that you're constantly still putting out regular content. That's going to help you grow, rather than worrying about that perfection side of things. And wrong, that's a mindset thing. I'm not a mindset coach. It's difficult to step away from, but once you get yourself into that flow of doing it, just get yourself into that flow of posting content that isn't perfect but gives great value, you'll be onto a winner, definitely. Let's have a quick look, see who else has joined us. Yes, absolutely, McGinley's. I think having a proper chat might be the way forward. Just see what other ideas I can maybe chuck in your direction, and go from there. But yeah, hopefully that helps, and we will see. Right, final question before we call it a day, unless any more questions come through. South America Rocks says, I run an adventure rock climbing tour to South America. The virus has stopped my business dead and may lead to the next recession you keep calling for. I'm not necessarily calling for, but I see it happening. It's kind of 2 years overdue anyway. So the fact that I think we're probably in a recession right now, personally, but we can't call it that right now because there are other issues at hand, let's be honest. How can you go on the offense with the tourism business during the economic downturn? So for me, the first thing that leaps straight into my mind for you is, who would want to go on tours to South America and go rock climbing? Who would have the expendable income to do that? Where's the pain point for those people? Well, without wanting to be too cutthroat, it's going to be the wealthy. Those people who have money to spend even during downturns in economy. And those are people who send maybe their children to private schools, or private schools in America, or just generally the more affluent people in the world. So you need to start making content for them, showcasing your area. So you need to start maybe getting creative agencies involved, get people who can help you create content that is going to look the absolute dog's bollocks, that when you put it out in front of them, they're going to be really intrigued to see what it is that you've got to say. So basically start looking to try and I'm very much against selling, but you've got so much value you can give in the content that you can show that will appeal to many people. And then those people who can afford it at the time can buy those tours, and those people who can't can still aspire to affording it eventually once we get out of the downturn. So I think you'd be on a win-win situation there. Like I say, I'm not a huge salesperson type person, so it sits very uncomfortably with me to suggest it, but that's what I would do. I would create content that's going to be directed at them, those people who have got money, those people who've been caught up in Corona, not being able to go traveling like everybody, but not necessarily everybody's got the money at the moment. Those people who've and are trapped during coronavirus are the ones who you need to be talking to. Those people will then want to go traveling, and I would do that with content showing what it is that you can do on those tours. So I don't know where you live, but if you are over there in the first place, get somebody over there, hire a creative agency wherever they are in the world, hint, hint, or someone local to you, get them in, get them to come and create some content for you. It's got to be good. It's got to be solo, blow your socks off, great shit. It cannot just be a bog standard filmed on your phone kind of video. This has got to be blow you away. Oh my God, this climbing looks incredible. I have got to go here to climb, kind of stuff. And hopefully that will draw those people in, and you will see some benefits from it, from having that money spent on having some creative created. That's my idea anyway. Hopefully that will help you. And obviously when you put money behind something, that's when you start putting money behind it on social media as well. Using that as a lead magnet, drawing people in, getting them to maybe give you some details so that you can send them a brochure or what have you, but with some blow away content, and then go, do you want to know more about what it is that we do? Get hold of our brochure. We'll send you a copy. Just fill in these details. They fill in the details. They get the brochure. They go, wow, these trips are well affordable. Can I go? And then they fly over and come and have a great time. Hopefully that helps. A quick hello to anybody else who's joined. Anybody else who's joined us this morning, this afternoon even. So used to doing these in the morning. Nobody right now. But I am going to Foxtrot Oscar because it is Sunday. Dinner is cooking. It's not a Sunday roast, sadly, but it is in the oven. So I'm going to go and sort that out because Susanna's, as you can hear, struggling with a very lively Max. So I will see you tomorrow morning. It is back to Daddy Daycare tomorrow. So it will be around about 11:30 in the morning. We will be live and answering your questions yet again. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Brand new to these lives, whatever platform you're on, hit the subscribe button if you have never been subscribed to me before there. And if you are subscribed already, or if you've just hit subscribe, how about you move your mouse or your thumb ever so slightly in one direction and click that share button. Share this content with your audience, and hopefully they will get some value from it as well. If there are other small businesses, other brands, other people who want to maybe build a brand, other people who are younger and want to become an influencer, you are still a brand if you are an influencer. So how do they build that? They still need to create content on a regular basis. So share this content with them if you think anybody in your audience, within your friends and family, will get value from it. And I will see you tomorrow morning. Stay safe. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and enjoy your Sunday roast if you're going to have one. And think of me because I ain't having one and I really, really fancy one. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.